When we left off in the Zero issue, Achilles had made his way from peace in the afterlife to an arena, where he was left to fight alongside King Theseus against the first heroes Gilgamesh and Enkidu. In this arena, the champion of Osiris, Imhotep. With the success of our first campaign, we were able to expand on this book in pretty much every way. We have doubled the size of the story. We brought in talents like Kevin Sharp and Alonzo Espinoza from the Dragon Guard, Scott Rosema, and many more for various different covers and pinup art. We're also extremely excited to announce our partnership with the Special Forces Charitable Trust, for whom we are raising funds by our Support Our Troops package. Not only will this package include an Indiegogo exclusive edition of the book with a cover by Ted Lehman and Farah Normaliza, but it will include a pinup by the very talented Justin Hunt, a UNIP patch, and a challenge group. $10 from every purchase of this tier will be donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust. It not only helps the veterans of this very elite community of the American military, but their families as well.
Hello, hello, welcome, and welcome to Mr. Michael Odin himself. Did you enjoy that?
Oh God, I come into the freaking the stream and that's what greets me, and I'm just like, oh God, this is what I get for coming in 10 seconds late.
Hey, Michael, it could have been this.
The Thessalonian you're fighting. He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.
Oh man, Michael, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you? How's it feel? You've launched your campaign, and I do believe you are funded.
We're already funded. Yeah, we're funded. I put the campaign goal very low on this one because having a heart attack every other day towards the last week of a campaign is, not exactly good for one's health. But
you did it, man. It's this is the way to do it, I reckon. You've already funded books before. You're an old hat at this. So just get in there, get it done, and now it's all just about pushing it out there as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. I've been on a lot. Where our momentum isn't as high as I was expecting it to be, or hoping it to be. But I think that it's just timing of it all, and I'm just going out there as with all guns blazing how best I can. And so hopefully we get some people interested here tonight. We've been doing a lot of promotion.
Speaking of the people, let us greet the people at the gates of this mighty.
I just want to acknowledge Mo Biggs, who is saying he's embarrassed over being 10 seconds late and that you should learn something from me. I want to clarify something. So I'm not so much embarrassed being 10 seconds late, so much as being 10 seconds late and being greeted by my own voiceover in my trailer.
That's what I do. I like to, you got to get comfortable with your own voice. If you're going to be promoting comics, you got to love your voice.
I like talking, and I actually do like going back and like listening to old interviews and what have you, because there's like a lot of times where people will say comments and it'll completely go And I'm like, I'm an asshole because I never addressed that. And but I don't like listening. I don't for whatever reason I don't like listening to it's super. It's one of those things where I wrote out something and doing that voiceover. I think that was like the 20th time I recorded that stupid thing.
Yeah, I did mine 8. I think I had 8 takes, and each one. The first one started like this. In a world where and Mel just looked at me. Mel, my wife, she was like, no, it's not going to be like that. So I was like, okay, next time it'll be in a world. And I just had to get back to, she's just speak bloody normal.
It was really funny because I was literally at like I had just woken up when I started trying to record it, and so like I got through like 10 takes before I was just like, no, fuck this, I need to wait, actually like be coherent. And so it's like, okay, first thing, like I feel so bad for Luke Stone was the one that put the video together, and he did a fantastic job. But like Luke had offered to do this for me like weeks ago, and I had plenty of stuff for him to do. And so now it's like 3-4 days before launch. And I was like, fuck, I need to get this done. I've been sitting on it. And so I'm like, first thing in the morning, we're going to go and we're going to record this thing. I have it finally written. We're going to get it done. And I wake up and I'm literally like, every other time that I'm like reading this is like I get like 4 or 5 words in and I just start stumbling on shit. Like,
I hear you. Hey, we need to welcome someone else to the show. Welcome aboard, Captain Stubing.
Jesus.
What
you drinking tonight, bud?
This is bourbon.
No, that's watered down. That's Foster's he had left over from the other night. Can't you see the amber color of that nectar?
No, I am cleansing the remnants,
burning it away
of that kangaroo swill. And it's going to be... Mike, it's been 3 days. My sphincter is still on fire. I drank 1.5 liters.
What did we do to you, Joe?
Of Foster's.
Yeah, that was way too much. They were big cans.
They say it's Australian for beer. It's not.
At least we hope not. We hope not.
It's Australian for never again.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm totally with you. Let's say hello to the very fine people who've decided to join us tonight. We've got Skip Edwards here, Mo Biggs, who we mentioned earlier, Jim Cox. Great to see all you guys. I liked this. Someone was talking about, it was Jim, talking about my fairly reliable start times, and Mo thought that was a pretty watery, fostery-like attempt at a troll. Fanacha, how you going, buddy? Great to see you. Todd's Truth. Dean is here as well. Nerd is the word. G'day. Who else?
I saw Ted Raymond was in there in the chat here.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's hanging out there somewhere. I saw him scroll. If you scroll up like a little bit.
A little bit. Hang on. Well, I'm going down from the top. So I'll, if he's in there, I'll get to him.
Yes.
Hopefully. He'll be there. Sometimes they don't actually show up in StreamYards. It's really weird. But I like how Dean is asking Skip if he's read his script yet. Black Rose Comics, great to see you here. Bianca Foster's Zombie Dudes. Who else? Oh yeah, the stream. Joe, we started off with internet problems. It's Aussie internet. Yeah, just fantastic. Great way to start off a show as always. But we do what we do. There's Ted. Hey Ted, he says, "Hail gentlemen." How back at you, Ted? Great to see you here.
Good seeing you, Ted. You did an awesome job on that Support Our Troops cover. Good people. Yes.
We'll talk about all that stuff. Brad's heels are the pits, says Vilnet. I will not hear a nasty word about Brad Pitt today. He is the he's the lead role in this tale that we're going to be talking about.
I hope that we get big enough so that someday these stupid troll shows that we do with one another we can legitimately bring in Brad Pitt. And it's
How
just
amazing would that be?
Like we get to a point where we can just reach out to Brad Pitt. It's like, so we've been joking about this for fucking years. Can you please come on our stream?
That would be so funny. That would be so funny. Leroy. Oh, good. Thank you. Glad you got in your FU. It's always good to see. I mean, we can't go on these days without it. Who else? Who else is here? I think that's everybody. So fantastic. Great to have you all here. Let me get rid of this silly comment by Leroy. So yeah, Michael, how's it been other than, struggling through voiceovers? How's it been since I think it's been about a month since we had you on and you've launched and
it's been pretty good. I mean, life in general has just been crazy with that's just 2020 for you though. You take a turn and it's just like, here, let me smack you in the face with something. Like, oh great.
There's an entire cottage industry forming around kind of like 2020 sucks paraphernalia, t-shirts, mugs, anything.
Just fucking everything really that could go wrong. Like, I think probably the greatest thing that I've seen so far is like God having a conversation with Gabriel, and it's like, yeah, so you got everything down that's supposed to go through like 2020, right? And it's like, wait, you meant like I thought you meant the decade, and God just goes, wait, you put an entire decade's worth of history in 1 year? Oh God. Oh no.
Yeah, pretty much. Joe, Mo has asked about the infamous DM. Do you mind if I read that out for you? Is that something you want the world to know about?
I think that, well, it's not really a question of if I want it known, but more, does the world need to know? And I feel like as a citizen of the human race, it's my responsibility to warn the rest of human civilization what might happen if they attempt to recreate what I so foolishly attempted Friday night. So you have my permission, sir.
All right. Let me go back. Where is it? Where's Joe's thing here? See, now I've said that now, and now I'm struggling to find it. God, we talk a lot of crap back here. All right, here it is. I've got it. So, Michael, in case you weren't aware, we had a Foster's stream. We all came on, and we drank the so-called Australian for beer drink, and Joe drank the most. Joe had 2 massive cans. I only had 1 small can, and I mean, it smelt so bad. But Joe drank the whole 2 cans, and then he kind of sat back, and we didn't get him back after that. I mean, he was kind of out of the conversation from that point.
It was 1.5 liters of liquid hell.
Yes.
I don't know why you put yourself through that.
Well, entertainment. We wanted the people. The people didn't really demand it, but we wanted them to demand it so we could laugh. And we just facilitated our own demise there. But listen to this. So this is the DM that Joe shared with us all the next day. He said, "I woke up with the worst morning breath in decades. I let out a fart so rotten I thought that my colon had died while I slept. I then dropped an atomic deuce in my poor toilet that defied natural law. Foster's, Australian for never again." I thought that was so poetic.
It's all true.
I'd chosen the right editor for my story. Welcome, Blue.
Hello. My headphones turned on with, and I thought my colon had died while I slept.
I've never heard you do an Australian accent before. That was good.
Oh man, that sounds absolutely horrible. I'm sorry that your body had to go through that. I don't really know what else to say.
I'm just grateful that my wife and children didn't leave me.
It was a sacrifice we were all willing for Joe to take. So
It was.
Yes.
We're all good.
We're
Oh
all
man.
good. We're all good. You kind of went through the entire campaign in your trailer before you even came on, Michael. I don't know if we have anything to talk about left, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There's a bunch of stuff that we can actually talk about.
There's a
with
bunch of
this
stuff,
campaign.
of course. Of course.
I mean, I guess the big question is where do we want to start?
Well, you got a haircut since the last time I've seen you, and you look
Yes,
like 10
yes,
years younger.
Yeah, no, like I decided, you know what, it's probably, with me launching this campaign, I should probably look like an actual human being and not just some hermit that
You've got
like,
the anti-narwhal route.
like I probably should look like, I can I have some sort of social demeanor, and I don't just hide under a Captain America hat all the time. So
This guy here hides under a captain's hat. I mean, forget Captain America. What kind of hat is that? What's that symbol on the top there? Do you know?
I believe it's the international symbol for yacht rock.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I see.
I have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
Or it could be a coil of rope.
Hey, did you guys see that Ethan said that Comicsgate is a hat group
Yes.
on the stream the other day?
Yeah. So obviously he's been spying on you.
It is the meme. The meme spreads. The meme will not be stopped. It's I didn't start that thing. It's someone wrote it in the comments at some point, and we just kind of ran with it. I can't remember who it was.
I still have that lion's mane hat that you sent me saved.
Yes.
So like, if we hit that 20K, that's my big thing. Is we hit 8,000 on the last book. I think that it is well within reason that between what I have put into it and all that we're doing to push and market it and all the stuff that we have to offer, that hitting 20K is very realistic. Oh, thanks.
He's looking at you through these tiny little pinhole things on his glasses.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking take it. Okay, I need that W for today. Anyways, as I was saying though, like, what was I saying? Jesus, it's that time of night.
No, we just keep.
You were
doing
talking
that
about getting your 20K stretch goal. Hang on, let's just let this sit here for a while and soak in Leroy's comment. And maybe you could hold up your drink there, Joe. There we go. Ching. Someone has to screen cap that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry his soul had to go through that. Jeez. Anyway, Michael, we were talking about where were we going to start in talking about the campaign, and then you wanted to reach your stretch goal, and you wanted to look more professional.
So we if we hit that 20K, obviously the big thing is that we are going to add an additional 10 pages to the book, which is a big deal, obviously. But the other big thing is that on our last stream, Michael Bancroft found a Nemean lion mane hat. And so if we hit that 20K, I will get that ridiculous thing and I will wear it on every one of these streams that I'm on. And no matter how just so everyone knows what he's talking about here. I mean, it was a classic Bancroft stream moment that we should all probably relive. Here, you can get 10% off your first order, so don't buy anything before that because you don't want to overpay on this beautiful I'll wear that thing
head
on all of my streams.
Now, this may be the hat to end all hats in the hat group. I mean, I don't see anyone topping this anytime soon if you pull this off. So we absolutely need as a group. Not only does Michael need it for his campaign, but as a group, we need to see this happen.
That's a magnificent hat.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, I'm thinking of just getting one for myself, just for day-to-day wear.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that until after I do it, Michael.
No, I wouldn't steal your thunder. I'm thinking, later on. This is a hat you have to kind of age into.
Yeah. Michael may sound like an Australian redneck, but he is a gentleman.
I I wouldn't cut your lunch like that, as we like to say.
You got to wait till Clark's a little older and then just wear it around the house all the time. So Clark will have this vague memory of, do you remember when Dad wore that thing on his head? What was that?
I have.
What?
Yeah, he's at the psychologist decades later saying, and I just have this memory of my father was a lion. Like, come on, what do you think that means?
But yeah, I do need that hat. So as I said, that's like the big thing is hitting that 20K. And we have a lot of things to help us get there. So I guess, I know that we talked a lot about the story on the last stream. So I guess we could kind of brush over that. We did our zero issue. Zero issue kind of brings Achilles from life to death in the afterworld to the underworld to this tournament, which is now named the Abyssal Tournament of Champions. And that's where we pick up in Pyramid Gambit. So Pyramid Gambit, the way that I'm kind of pushing this is it's kind of a mini trade. It's 2 large-sized issues worth of story, with the base page count for the story being 54 right now, and we'll go up to 64 if we get that 20K. There'll be there's going to be a character glossary in there to help people who may not be as familiar with the mythology, because that was something that we had a few people reach out like, hey, I enjoyed this, but I have no fucking clue who these people are. And I was like, that's fair. I can understand that. And so I wanted to make sure that we had that as a way to, because, it's important that everyone should be able to pick up a comic book and kind of get what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so like, that's a big thing that we're offering. And we have those, we have 3 main covers on this book. Obviously our main artist, Marcelo, did one. The one that you're scrolling on right now is my cover. I did the pencils on that, and then Marcelo inked and colored it. It turned out great. And then we have the Dragon Guard cover, which is our top seller right now, for very understandable reasons. Kevin Sharp and Alonzo. Yeah, that they kicked that thing's ass.
It's pretty, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic cover. And
I suggest anyone who's looking at this, go to Michael's Twitter. He's actually posted this on Twitter in a really nice high res, so you can get in there and see all the details and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a tremendous. They just did fantastic work, and we also. If you guys missed out on the zero issue, we do have some holo foils left from the zero issue that we have up there. And then if I think we're at like 25 or 26 left that haven't been claimed. Hey Johnny. And the other option that we have is we have a limited print of a hardcover deluxe edition, which we were very fortunate. Scott Rosema did that cover for us, and it turned out beautiful. I have that up here as well. You might have to scroll. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. This one turned out really good.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you've got the Team Hades there, and they're all brought together on the silhouette of our version of Hades, and you've got the fire billowing, and Scott's signature is right there by the trade dressing. He did an outstanding job. It's a beautiful cover. And so this one will collect the zero issue. It'll collect the Pyramid Gambit, and it will have an art gallery of all of Marcelo's concept art. And then it will also have all the different covers in there in an art gallery, and the pinups outside of the one special outside of the support our troops stuff, because those are going to be designated for the support our troops stuff. We'll get to that. Okay. And since Ted's in the audience, I guess now is actually the perfect time to talk about that. So we had done this video reveal on Phil Lockler's channel, Demon Nation, on September 11th, where we kind of I talked about what we were trying to do with this cover, and and what have you. And so here is Ted's realization of my vision, and it is outstanding. The finished product will be colored by Farah Nurmaliza.
Nice.
She's starting that here at the end of next month. She's just been. It was one of those things where I was like, hey, like it was very last minute. I was like, hey, would you be available to do a cover? And she's like, I am booked all the way to November. And I was like, that's fine. Like, that's within my production window. So we won't see the finished version of that until then. But it's outstanding. It's really good. And then
I like
the other big.
I like that concept, by the way.
It turned out really good. I mentioned it in the video. I'm not sure how many of you guys actually got a chance to listen to me talk about it, but like the whole idea was I wanted the cover for this to not just be your standard like badass military homage, and we do have that kind of thing for the pinup, but for this cover I wanted it to showcase these heroes, both modern and ancient, at their best, where they're helping people, you know.
Yeah.
So we have the medic who's carrying off the wounded soldier, and so you've got that smoke that's billowed across the ground as a smoke grenade, and from it we have the ethereal version of our Achilles, who's kind of pointing them to safety with his spear and blocking the hail of bullets for these guys to help them get to safety. And Ted just did an outstanding job. I remember when he sent me the initial pencils, I was like, holy shit, you nailed it. It's an outstanding piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited to see how Farah elevates it with her colors, because she's fantastic.
It also says something about a long-standing tradition of military, not just none left behind, but also protecting those who are in the back, helping. I like it.
No, it's an outstanding thing. Then I see we're joined by Smiling Bandito.
Hail and well met. This is looking amazing. The artwork on this is just stellar. Yeah,
it's compared to what we've been sort of we didn't have much to show off with the mailing list. We had a little bit, and we talked about the story and everything, so that was cool. And now we get to see some of this incredible art by these artists who
and we were
just
really
knocking it out of the park.
We were really fortunate, and we had Phil is good friends with Brian Polito and Justin Hunt and all of them, and he reached out to Justin, who's also a veteran. And so Justin got a hold of me and was like, I want to get in on this. And so he did a pinup for us, which is fucking phenomenal, and that's up there. And so what we have here is you got that pinup. I don't know how far you can zoom in on it, but the saw gunner in the front is me.
Ooh.
Like, it blew me away. He was just like, hey, look at the helmet band. And I was just like, what? I was like, wait a fucking minute. And you got Odin. He's also got the name patch there on his arm. But he even took he found a picture of me from when I was in and used my likeness for that guy too. Like, you can kind of see it in the cheekbone structure. And then next to me is actually Justin Hunt. And then the guy behind him is a guy that Justin lost while he was overseas. Because Justin actually went through combat tours. I was infantry as well, but we didn't get to do anything remotely exciting. But Justin served, and he was actually detached to 1st Special Forces Group. That is another great segue into what we're doing with this. So this is a part of our Indiegogo exclusive Support Our Troops package. And so what you get in this package is you get a special edition of the book that has that variant cover by Ted Lehman and Farah Nurmaliza. And then you have this pinup by Justin Hunt, which will be colored by Alonso Espinoza. But you also get a unit patch and a challenge coin. That Justin designed the unit patch, and then the challenge coin will have that unit patch on it, and then the Elysian Fields logo on the other side of it as well. And so $10 of every single one of those purchases gets donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust, whom we are partnered with. And I've spoken at great lengths about that. And it's an organization that I really believe in, because not only do they help out the veterans of that, elite community, but their families. And it's something that I feel like is often overlooked, where, it's always support our troops and don't get me wrong, well met, but their families put just as much on the line by, being, like, I wouldn't say being okay, but recognizing the sacrifice that their loved ones are doing and the potential that they may not come home. And so Special Forces Charitable Trust raises money for like college scholarships for their kids, widow and widower foundations for to help out spouses who've lost, like all sorts of great things. And they're just an absolutely outstanding organization, and to be partnered with them and for them to be vouching for our product as well and promoting on their social media, it's truly a beautiful thing to be a part of.
There they are there.
Yeah, and that's their.
It's really
that's
cool that you're actually properly, involved in this.
Yeah, I was just going to say the exact same thing.
I'm very fortunate in my father served 35 years, and he was at Special Forces, and he runs the local SF chapter. And when we did our first support our troops perk in the 0 issue, there were some issues that I had where I didn't want to go like your standard route with, like, let's say Wounded Warrior or anything like that, because I know that they've probably been resolved at this point, but I remember that like a while back they had some issues with people taking money that wasn't supposed to be taken, and this, that, the other. And so I reached out to my dad and I was like, hey, what organizations do you guys work with that would be good for this? Like, I want to make sure that this gets to people that are 100% trustworthy, and that the money's going to the right place, and without even a hesitation. He's like, Special Forces Charitable Trust. And he gave me the kind of walk down on what they do and everything. And, he gave me the connections with their president, and I've been in touch with them for about a month and a half, and they're great. They're good people.
Very cool to hear. Very cool. Yeah, that's great. It's really, I get the feeling sometimes a lot of people just kind of rush over that if they, do anything at all. But that's really cool.
Yeah, they just kind of throw something up there.
Yeah. And you don't really know how genuine it is, but obviously anyone who's
I'm not even gonna bullshit. That's what I did initially, because I remember I was on Mandy Summers' stream. It was the last day of my first campaign, and people were yelling at me to throw up more expensive perk tiers. And so I was just like, okay, fuck it, support our troops tier. And then I was like, oh shit, now I have to actually find some place to go do this with. But like, that's my whole thing, is that at the end of the day, I made a commitment, and I like to think I'm a fairly genuine person. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And if I have a resource to make sure that I can actually connect and reach out and really make a difference in one of these causes, I'm going to do it. And so that's what we have. And, we have a lot of original art on this. And I do want to point out that Justin Hunt's original art of that pinup is for sale, and none of that's going to be going to us. That entire price point on that artwork is being donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust. It's one of those things where it was an investment, but to me, supporting that cause is way bigger than anything that I can do. And so I want to give them as much as I can without taking away. And
that's really awesome. And when you combine that with a group like Comicsgate, I mean, one of the things that CG does so well is raise money for for other organizations, and I mean with the crowdfunding and stuff, but also just for the charities that they've helped over the years. So that's it's awesome to see it happen with more than just, you know, Ethan or the other guys that are building that kind of stuff. So that's awesome.
I appreciate it. Like it was a very big thing for me. I really, this is something that really obviously, you know, speaks to me. I served. I came from a family that served. You know, my brother was Ranger Regiment. My dad SF. This is a big thing that I wanted to give back. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we do have a lot of options there. There are 2 perks that you can get that donate to the Special Forces Charitable Trust. Mm-hmm. There's the Support Our Troops perk package, obviously, and then there's which is $50, and then there's the whole enchilada, which gets you the 3 main covers of the book and the Support Our Troops package, and that's $120. And so again, it would be $10 of each of those will be donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust, and then the Justin Hunt original art, which is our feature. The whole enchilada is our featured perk, and so every perk that has the SFCT logo on it is a perk that gets a donation.
Okay.
Right on. So you've got you're doing hollow foil. I know that's the 0 issue.
Yes, that's the 0 issue. So we had 30 left over. 4 people have claimed that, so that puts us down to 26. So if you missed the 0 issue and you want to get that nice collector hollow foil that everyone got from the first campaign, we do have a few left. Get on that now. If that doesn't matter to you, but you still want to read that 0 issue, again, we have the hardcover deluxe edition. We are only printing 100 of those. You know, I might even, if we hit a high enough thing, I might even have those initially sent to Scott Rosema so that he can sign all of them.
Nice.
So
yeah, so that's including the 0 issue story. Can you remind me how many pages is in the Pyramid's Gambit?
So the main story of the Pyramid Gambit is 54 pages, right? So you get the 0 issue, which is 24 pages of story. The Pyramid Gambit, 54 pages of story. Plus, and if we hit that 20K, that goes up to 64 pages of story. And then you have an art gallery that has all of Marcelo's concept art, which will, like, if you guys have seen the 0 issue, you know how I kind of set up the art gallery where you got to see pencils, inks, colors, and that's how it progressed. And then you'd get the all the main covers of the book from 0 issue through Pyramid Gambit. So you'd get, you know, the Jim O'Reilly cover that we used on the floppy, the Von Randall cover that we used on the black and white cut. You'd have the cover that we used that Marcelo did for the 0 issue, the main cover he did for Pyramid Gambit, which is up on the screen right now, and Kevin Sharp's cover. All of that stuff would be displayed in the art gallery. And yeah.
Hey, Bandito, we can hear you rubbing your cat there.
I'm not rubbing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just, you know, I'm just pointing it out. That's all.
Yeah, he's been lonely lately. I've been working so much.
I hear.
The other thing I should mention is, and I don't know why it didn't update on here, but I can share it if you give me a sec. But Joe Tolliver, who did the pinup for us, that's the perk that everyone that signed up for the mailing list, you guys are getting this pinup for free.
Michael, you
how about that? What are we getting for free
instead of sharing?
The suspense is killing us.
Battery died.
Sure. Well, it's this thing here. It's going to show the original art, I suppose.
Oh,
very cool.
Oh, good zoom in, by the way.
I know, this is a big zoom.
It zoomed really well.
The detail on that image, even being zoomed in, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Sorry
we go.
Nice
about
fail there.
Hey.
I literally I was clicking on to the other tab, and I guess I was using my touchpad, and it just decided to say screw you.
See, Mike does that all the time, but he makes excuses like, "Oh, I was drunk." No, you're
Aussie
How many
internet.
times have I made that excuse?
all the
Well,
time.
I know that you guys put it on the screen, but I do have it
Now let's see
fully.
the detail.
Oh,
So, yeah.
There you go. So
Um,
that's going to be a print that everyone who signed up to the mailing list and backs the book will receive
for free. There,
for free.
I
For
well,
free.
yeah. So like, if you had gotten on that mailing list during pre-launch, like as I said, you get a free poster. This is the free poster. It'll be 11 by 17. And given that there are only there are less than 200 that signed up for that mailing list, I am probably going to, since Justin Hunt kind of stole the show, that what I might end up doing is I will send those pinups for those mailing list guys to Joe and have him do what Justin is doing, where he's going to sign and number them.
Are you able to zoom in at all so we can see some of the detail in the middle there?
Yeah, let's see if I can. Here.
There we go.
oh wow.
And so you
There's
got
our boy. There's Brad.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's Brad.
Handsome as always.
I'm telling I know I said it earlier, but like we need to get to a point where we're big enough where we can reach out to Brad Pitt and have him come on one of these things
and
and
plug
just
it for you.
and just be there to like, or even just record some things, saying the shit that like Michael will put on his Twitter post when he's promoting Elysian Fields for me, where he's like, Brad Pitt, direct quote, best modern representation of Achilles other than me. I would literally die if we got it. Like that would be the funniest thing. So we've got Theseus over here doing his thing with the Aegeus sword and the cord that got him through the labyrinth, and then you've got our badass Heracles over here. He's using a club that my version of this club is very different in the book, but I don't really give I gave Joe some artistic license here. Like the Anubites don't look like this necessarily in the comic, but these things look fucking vicious. I love it. It's one of those things where I'm all down with an artist taking their own vision of what I'm putting before them. Like at the end of the day, I'm paying them for a reason. Because
Zoom
they
out a
can
bit so we can see the two guys on either side.
Yeah, and so here, let's zoom out just a smidge so we can. So on the right here, we have Osiris, who is the Egyptian god of the dead, and then on the left we have Hades. And
So this is all they're making. Is this they're the ones who have set up this this battle?
Yeah. So as I had established, I'm going to close out of this at this point.
Go for it.
As I had established, this is a tournament book. And so all of these deities from across world culture, these deities of death and the underworld, are competing in this tournament, and they have teams of champions from their own cultures. So the next book, Pyramid Gambit, is the beginning of the first like full-on round of the tournament that we're going to get to see, and it pits ancient Egypt against ancient Greek. And so we have Team Osiris, which is Imhotep, versus Team Hades. And the big thing, and you're probably wondering, like, man, Team Hades is 3 fucking people, and how badass is this Imhotep guy? Well, Imhotep was the man that that the Egyptians have credited with making the pyramids, and he is kin to Osiris himself. And so I wanted that to play a big role. And so Imhotep has never lost directly in the arena. The only way that people have ever gotten past him is by bribing Osiris. And so what Imhotep does is he traps them in a pyramid. And you don't know what happens inside the pyramid until our heroes get there. And so that's what you guys are going to be seeing, is what this pyramid trial is on the inside. Because the only times that you've seen it, that you will get to see it before, the pyramid appears, and then when it disappears, the people that were inside of it are now dead.
The gambit, so to speak.
Yep. So that's what you guys are going to be experiencing, is the beginning of that obstacle. This will carry on into our next book as well. So you get to see we won't finish up with Osiris or Imhotep or any of them here in this book. We'll get a little bit more time with them. But I think we have something really special here. It's a really fun time. It's really great writing Team Hades and growing that dynamic as I write it. Because it's funny because I remember like the first few times Michael and I had talked, I had this very clear vision on how I wanted these characters to interact. And as I was writing, those things have obviously, like those things changed. And that's natural. A lot of that happens as you're writing a book, like, actually, this would make more sense if these characters did it this way. And so it's been a really fun time crafting this narrative and having these 3 pillars of Greek myth really be interacting with one another and showcasing how their team dynamic is not the smoothest. Because you got, Heracles, who's the big, strong guy. He's not dumb, really, but he doesn't really think things through. He just hits things really hard.
Brute force.
He's got a skill set. Intelligence isn't what rates high on it.
And then
I feel him, man.
And then you go to Theseus, who's the founder of Athens. He's the slayer of the Minotaur. He solved the labyrinth. And so he's very methodical and thinks about things. And then you've got Achilles, who's the brash hothead. And so they have these conflicting things where, Theseus is kind of intimidated by the whole concept of going up against this, and that drives Achilles through the roof. And then Heracles just doesn't give a shit. He gives him an excuse to punch something.
It's like you get to do that old game when we were kids. Well, I think some people still do it now on Twitter, especially, where you say who would win between the Turtles and the Thundercats,
that's
you
how
get to do it with things that you really love in history.
Yeah, and that's how this all started for me, is because weirdo that I was. As a kid, I grew up with and I identified with a whole bunch of other kids that were into the same sort of shit. And we'd have those nerd discussions where it's like, oh, well, who would win between Superman and so or what have you. But the big thing is what really separated us was we would have our favorite mythic heroes, and it would be like, oh, King Arthur versus frickin' Beowulf, who wins? Like doing shit like that and putting these heroes that we really like from these epic stories together. And that's where Elysian Fields was born from, was just a bunch of nerdy weirdos that freaking would go around and be like, well, actually, if you read the epic
I know you have partial dismemberments going on in this book at various locations. Can you have somebody saying, well, actually, right before he gets something cut off? Can you please?
Well, actually,
I'll see if I can't work that in at some point.
Even just a fingertip, just like the fingertip.
Is this my Australian friend, Stephen?
Yes, it is. He is taking over our lettering.
Ah, very cool, very cool. And Joe's just kind of left the building briefly, but it's great to see you have an editor on the job. There you go, Joe. we're kind of. I'm a big convert now, and now I've sort of seen that really, it was very foolish of me to kind of try and press ahead without an editor, and so it's great to see more independent books being professional like that.
Well, it was one of those things where I got my copy of the book, and I was reading it, and there were a few things where like, man, I missed like a grammatical error here or there. And I think I did overall a very good job. But like there comes a point where we as artists cannot be objective about our own work because we know what the fuck we're trying to say. And so when it doesn't matter how fucking hard we stare at our sequentials or anything like that when they have our dialogue, because we're just going to do the automatic 2 + 2 = 4, and we're like, well, we know what we're trying to say. Why won't they? And so
Joe knows exactly what you're talking about, and I do too. We had a 5-hour discussion while Joe was suffering through a 6-hour discussion while Joe was suffering through a Foster's hangover, and he stumped me at one point, and I was like, Joe, my face, I was like, and I was just sitting there, it's like, it's kind of all crumbling in front of me, and then I went off, and just last night was the first time where I was like, I can finally, figure a way out. But if Joe hadn't have been there to say, hey, well, why did this happen like this? I would have just kind of plowed on, and imagine you plow on and you're already kind of drawing the 4th book, and bang, you run into a massive roadblock that you really can't write your way around without doing some Last Jedi shit, which would be an absolute disaster.
And so like Katrina is just doing the proofs on this next book. But I am planning on like bringing in like a full-time editor to take a look at scripts, help with structuring and everything like that. Because it like, as you said, like it is one of those things where you're like, there are some times you're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. It's going to be, and then you have that person throw you that fucking ringer where you're just like, shit. Well, why would it happen?
That was my face, Joe, right there. That was my face. Hey, Joe, did you have something you wanted to talk about? You were mentioning to me before the show.
Yeah.
Or did you want to do that at the end?
Well,
do you even remember, or has Foster's rotten brain?
I'm so sorry, but
now that you mention it, I don't know.
Heartburn?
You remember how on Friday night I was talking about I was feeling like I was burning up, like I was having hot flashes?
Yes.
Are you pregnant?
Oh.
Are you trying to become pregnant?
Are you okay?
You know what? Oh, just give me a second. I'm burning up. Let me just turn off my camera. I got a shirt under this. Let me just turn off my camera for a second. Let me mute my mic here. Oh.
I have no idea what is happening here.
I don't know what's going on, but
I'm afraid of
I need to. I can't stop watching.
Genuinely nervous now.
Yeah.
I hope he's not naked.
Nervous and excited.
Oh, come on.
Something.
Are you kidding me? I just got this shirt. Crap.
Tragedy.
He's holding.
Ooh.
I was wearing this undershirt. I'm trying to rip off my other shirt because I'm just burning up in here. I just ripped my new undershirt.
Oh,
Joe,
sure.
I never knew you were that built. Have you been buying supplements from what's his face? Look at that! Look at that body you're rocking.
Oh man!
Hey, hey, Michael, you should use his body as a reference for a new character in your book. I think.
We may have to, man. Like, I need to figure that out.
I am so sorry, you guys. Oh, I think it was my final Foster's flashback.
He's gone full Hulk.
I think it passed. I think I'm good. I thought I was gonna fall out of my chair there for a second, but I think I'm good.
Six-pack Joe.
I got some water here.
Hey, Joe, you didn't go get some, six-pack plastic surgery, did you? That's all natural.
Surgery. I'm not a Kardashian.
That's it, Alex. The InfoWars. That's it. He's been taking those supplements.
Super beta male prostate.
Michael, I promise I had no idea what he was going with there. He was just like,
Hey, it's all good, man.
I wanted to show you something at the end of the show, and I'm like, all right, okay. I'm glad it happened. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, Michael, I've got a quick question. You said about the art gallery at the end of the book for the one that has the art gallery. Is it going to be formatted? I kind of blinked mentally, and I may have stopped existing for a moment. Is it going to be formatted much like the one in the prior book?
It should be, yes. I have an actual graphics person on this next book, that's helping, and so they're going to make sure that it is tighter and what have you. But for in particular Marcelo's concept art, that is the kind of layout that we're going to be looking at, where it's very much like you've got pencils, inks, colors, and they're all kind of spaced out there through the page, so you get a good quality look at Marcelo's work as he would progress through things.
But somehow in CG you found a graphic designer, God knows where, and they're going to help. They're going to make it look a little better. So whatever better would be, I don't know. But okay, cool.
Doing the art gallery stuff is pretty easy. Like I'm going to be doing the majority of that art gallery stuff, but for those credits pages and everything like that, I brought on somebody because I was like, that was one of the things. I think it was Eric Hodson. He got back to me and was like, hey, so the book's solid. The graphics on the interior and everything look very amateur, though. They're not bad, but they look amateur. And I was like, well, there's a reason for that, and that's because I had never used Photoshop before. And
I am an amateur.
and so I was like, but it's good to know that there is actually like a thing where somebody can look at it and be like, that doesn't look professional at all.
So it
doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look professional. So that was one of the big things. It's like I want to make sure that the inside, like everything about this book, looks professional. Everything from the graphics to the art to the lettering to everything. I want it to be a complete experience. I don't want anything to take away from it.
Cool.
You got a
It's
good project.
that time of the stream where we do a little bit of a refresherino and see if
we got a bump. Did somebody
a little bump?
No
if
hurt
the
feelings,
Bancroft bump lives up to its hype. So here we go. I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right screen so I don't kick myself, as we Michaels are wont to do.
Yeah.
There you go. 2 more backers.
Woo!
Nice.
Fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
But
Is there no one else?
I fucking love it. I like it. Like, you know what? It's fantastic because we've talked at great length as to why I don't like that movie, but it's really funny because that like opening scene with Achilles is probably the purest he's ever been on screen. Like if they had continued Achilles' writing the way he is presented in the first 20 minutes of Troy, he would have been perfect. Because then when he gets to Troy, he becomes like all philosophical and it's like everyone's just and he becomes this super nice guy and it's like, oh well, he's so relatable. Like he's an arrogant shit. That's the whole point. He was like in the stories he was like 13, 14 when he went to Troy. And he was told, yeah, you're the best warrior in all of Greece. Actively. All the time. He was an arrogant little shit. By the time of the Iliad, he had been at war for like 10 years and it had been that entire mentality had been completely reinforced. I love Achilles as a character, but it's one of those things where you have to acknowledge what they are. So it was just going back and watching Troy, it sucks because there are some moments in there that really do shine out, and I'm like, oh, if only you had continued in this direction. Like,
well,
even
don't say too many bad things about it, or else you won't be able to get Brad Pitt to come on the show.
I know.
You're trying to smooth this guy.
I know. We're
I
trying to win him over here. We're not trying to,
Trying to smooth him.
The first
Schmooze.
interaction that he has with Hector in the Temple of Apollo is very good. And again, like that's kind of where I felt that the writing of Achilles kind of went downhill, because after that they started to focus on the love relationship angle with him and Briseis, and so they were trying to focus on, he's this, he's got this higher understanding than most people do.
Michael, we're not going to have an entire history lesson on Achilles tonight, especially since we are over the 1 hour limit.
It's true. But we gotta give a quick
goodbye.
You have to give a quick minute just for Jason's question there.
Where's Jason's question?
It's a general question. He just says, "Team, I'm working on a comic as well at the moment. Should I write the story idea down so I can use it to plan out my page tiles?" I would say write everything down.
Yeah.
Make sure you get everything down as much as you can. Dump your brain onto the page, and then plan out as you go. You will always be shifting things, and your story will be evolving as you go with every single step.
Even when it comes to characters, write down things about them that the audience might never see directly, just because it'll give you a more realistic full person. Like what do they like for breakfast? If you're having a brain cramp, just ask stupid questions like that to yourself.
For sure. Anyway, here we are at the end. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. Elysian Fields looks like an amazing project.
It's 60 pages. 60.
You can see that you're building and building upon every single layer.
And that's the goal. Is I want to keep building, and we've Nine Realms is my own publishing imprint. I started it, and Elysian Fields is a fantastic starting title, and we're putting out other projects, and so ensuring the success of this means more Nine Realms books as well. So like I already have, I have one that the script is done, and I'm actually the art team on that will be Ted Lehman and Ferran Normaliza. That's actually how I got in touch with Ted initially, was because of that. He had reached out to me on Facebook because I was on an indie comic creator page, and he was showcasing some of his art, and he had that whole modern warfare thing going, and that was something that I mean, with my experience, I kind of wanted to play with, and So we've got some other projects, but helping us succeed here is so integral to making sure that we have that future. And, there's the added bonus that helping us succeed is helping the Special Forces Charitable Trust succeed. And obviously helping another indie comic succeed helps the indie comics industry grow. And that's where it's at right now. The mainstream stuff is garbage. So help indie comics.
I'm not going to try and turn my camera back on. I don't know how much internet I have left. Michael, it's been a blast having you on, as always. Congratulations with getting funded, and let's get this thing as high as we can possibly get it. Elysian Fields, looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. Thank you for coming on. Joe, Bandito, Blue, pleasure as always. And, of course, the amazing chat. Hail to the sexiest chat in Comicsgate. It's so amazing to see you here each and every day. But Michael, before you leave, there's just one last piece of advice I have to give you. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's.
You know what's there? Waiting beyond that beach. Immortality. Take it. It's yours.
Take that, sucker.